Welcome to episode 4 of the Grounded Podcast. No applause, no applause, no applause. So, last week, I had my videographer on with me, Mr. Gasu Koulibaly. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We talked about a couple different things. You can go check that out on episode 3. But I do want to say, just for starters, this is, we're 4 episodes in as of today. And I just want to say that to me, this is a big accomplishment. I definitely feel like for the last few weeks, in order to maintain something, in order to continuously do something week after week after week, you got to really love it. And there's something like very, very therapeutic about doing a podcast. I'm not really sure what it is because most of the time I'm just talking to myself. But I think something that is very therapeutic for me is, I guess, just talking through things. And I look back at it and I'm just like, I finished the pod and I'm just like, wow, like I feel much better about, whatever I just talked about. So let's just jump right into things, man. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us on the Grounded Podcast. And let's get into it. So today I'm going to be going over a bunch of different things, but just to start, kind of just right off the rip, the episode 1, episode 2, I did like a Bible verse at the end, and if you didn't catch it, that means you didn't watch it till the end, so we could talk later on that, but we're going to start in the beginning, so that way you don't got no excuse. So doing things with intent, it is very, very, very important to do things intentional, do things with reason, have a reason on why you're doing something. Have a why. In James 4, chapter 4, verse 3, it says, when you ask, you do not receive because you ask with the wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasure. So that's powerful. That's a very, very powerful scripture because if you think about it, basically God's saying like you've been asking for stuff, but have you been asking for it with the right intent? Have you had the right motives? You're the right why into the things that you're basically asking for. Just think on that for a second, because to me, that's like, I read that and I'm like, I get chills, man. Like, that's actually really powerful. I think about it in the sense of when I look at my life, everything that I've done, I've tried to do with intent. And that could be something little or something big. The reason why I wanted to open up a gym was because I truly enjoy seeing people grow, seeing people get better. I know what the gym means for a lot of people. I know what it means for myself. It's always been something that has been home, hence the name, Hometown Barbell, 5904 Enterprise Court, Frederick, Maryland, 21703. If you haven't checked it out, 301-514-6583. But doing things with intent, my intent in opening up the gym was to provide a second home for people so that they would be able to work out and just have, 2 hours or whatever amount of time, or for some people like 4 to 6 hours of an escape. Just some time to where people can kind of get away from reality, get out of the cubicle, get out of school, and just train, sweat, work out. And to me, that's always been my escape. So that was my why, and my intention is to be able to provide a place like that for people that also felt like home, because some gyms aren't home. We're not going to call nobody out, but some gyms aren't home. Some places you go and it's not home. It doesn't feel like home. And I feel like that's my why. Trying to make a space that feels like home for people, to where people can train, people can work out, make friends, do whatever you got to do. That's what I wanted to provide for people. I think that moving, in a small thing, right? Something that I feel like a lot of people don't think about is like if someone asks you like, hey, how's your day going? And you say, oh, like it's okay, or it's good. Was your intent to just fill a void of silence and ask something just for the sake of conversation? Or was it with the intent of like you actually want to know how someone is doing? I saw this trend on TikTok. This was like a minute ago. I don't even know when it was, but let's just say like a year ago. I saw this TikTok and it was like, when you ask someone how they're doing, ask them 3 times. So I was like, oh, that's kind of dumb, but whatever. Went about my day, saw someone at the gym later. I was like, hey, how you doing? They're like, I'm good. I said, hey, how you doing? They said, I'm good. And I looked at them again. I said, hey, how you doing? And they're like, you know what? Like, and they just spilled it. And I was like, dang, it worked. And it's kind of crazy that we've become so, susceptible to just not having a lot of genuine conversation in things. But also, I feel like a lot of people, when they ask you how your day is, I would say more likely than not, they don't care. Because if you really told them, one, they may not do anything about it. Or 2, they might be like, oh, you know what? Like, I need all that information, but I hope it gets better. So just in the little things, it's not just about doing things intent in like the large, in like the big scale. But I think doing things with intent just in the little things, about asking people how they're doing, just basic things, doing with intent. I think another thing that requires a lot of, intent in doing is when you're working out. Some people work out just to work out. It's a check in the box throughout the day. I get off work at 5. I go to work, or I go to work out after I finish working out, and then that's it. So something that I've noticed just in like the speech in like at hometown, and really at like a lot of gyms to where you have people who like, they really, really like, they train, is like, there's a difference in working out and training. Working out is, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna walk for 30 minutes. Yeah, I have no plan about what I'm gonna be doing while I'm working out. I'm just gonna do 3 sets of 10 of this, 2 sets of 10 of this, 4 by 8 of that, 5 by 5 of this. And then you finish your workout and you're like, okay, I think that's enough. And then you go on about your day. But there's no plan. You don't really know what you're doing in there, which is fine. It's not a bad thing if you don't know what you're doing in the gym. And don't take this as, if you don't know what you're doing in the gym, get out. It's more so of like, again, doing things intentionally. So when you have a plan, you're able to do things with intention. My intent is to get better, to be able to compete. My intention is to study harder so I can get my degree. My intention is I'm going to college so that I can have this job, so that I can build this future and do these certain things. And so that's one of the main reasons. I think I covered it a little bit in my first episode of the pod, but that's kind of something I was thinking about on why I didn't go to college out of high school. I graduated high school and I did not go to school. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I wonder if I should. No. Nah. I knew for a fact college wasn't for me. And again, I say this like very, very, very loudly. It wasn't for me. Doesn't mean it's not for you, just not for me. I felt like at that time in my life, being 18, wanting to get married, wanting to kind of start my life, start my career, start this, start that, I knew that college wasn't going to be the start for that. I knew that I would be in a long distance relationship because I was going to look into going to school in Virginia. It's about 4 hours away from where I was. So I'd have to do this long distance relationship in a new setting with new people. And I knew that, a lot of times, you can go to college and be around the right crowd, but it's also very easy to find the wrong crowd. And sometimes it's not even the wrong crowd. You're just at the wrong place, or you're doing the things that aren't necessarily going to get you from A to B. There's always time to have fun. There's always time to party, celebrate, things like that. But something that I've noticed as an adult, and it's kind of like different in being like a adult and a college student, is that in college, and I'm not speaking from experience, I'm speaking from experience from watching my friends go to college. There's a party every day. It could be a Monday evening party, Sunday night party, Friday night party. And there's no reason, because like I feel like as an adult, there's always a reason for a party. It's a birthday outing. It's an anniversary. It's a graduation. It's a celebration. And yeah, there's some people who they just go out like on the weekends and like just for nothing. They just, go out for social stuff. But I've noticed that like in college, you party, 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 but there's no reason other than just for the social aspect of it. And maybe that's just one way to like really relieve the stress of like being in school and trying to keep up with your grades, and maybe you have a job and maybe you're financially struggling and maybe it's a lot. And that's like a lot of college students like escape from reality is to party. Let me forget about this. Let me black out and wake up and do it again. And it's a revolving door really to lead you down a very dark path. Very, very, very dark path. I feel like I've seen a lot of people, and again, I'm saying this not to rag on college at all, but this is just from what I've seen through my lens, is that a lot of times people don't do things for the right reasons. That brings me back to this verse. When you ask, you do not receive because you ask with the wrong motives. So if I'm praying, I want this job. Why? I want to make more money. Okay, that's reasonable. Or it's closer to my house. Cool. Or I want this job so that I can flex on my friends. Or I want this job so I can fill in the blank. I feel like when asking for something, you should have kind of a pure intent behind, and then also an intent for that to lead somewhere, like somewhere better. You should be trying to like gradually better yourselves. It's important to never be satisfied with where you are. There's a difference in satisfaction and content. Satisfaction is more along the lines of, I just did something. Yeah, I'm satisfied. Imagine if you just got married and someone asked your spouse, hey, how do you feel? How do you feel? And it's your wedding day. And they're like, I'm satisfied. You'd be like, that doesn't come off. It comes off as very like, okay, like 6 out of 10. It could be better. Satisfaction. Like I remember even in like when you were getting grades, they'd have like excellent, satisfactory, and failure. So satisfactory was always like in the middle. And I feel like our society is too okay with just being satisfied. Like I've heard a lot of people say like we live in this time of like instant gratification. It's like that like satisfaction from things that don't really matter. And looking at it from, kind of a level view is you get this satisfaction of everyone's just okay with being satisfied. I don't know if I really wanted to do this, but I'm satisfied with it. Being content is different than being satisfied. I think some people would probably view it as like a synonym. It's not to me. To me, being content is, okay, I'm content with my marriage. I'm content with, I have 2 kids or I've started my business, but I want more. I'm still hungry. I still have that aggression to get to the next step. You should always strive to be better and to try to reach the next thing, whatever it is. I remember when I first got out and, I started looking for different jobs, one of the first things that I said, like on my interviews, because in the military, there's such a clear ladder in you're E1 and you become an E2, E3, E4, E5, and just it goes on and on. Something that I learned from a civilian aspect is there's not always that clarity in ladder. So being a contractor, which is what I was doing. I was doing contract work when I got out the military. I figured out real quick that as a contractor, you get hired for that position, and usually it's that position only. It's rare that you can move up because you've been contracted to fill that job, not to fill your boss's job, but that job. There may be things where things arise, but one of the first questions I would ask, like when I would get in an interview, is I would say, can you tell me about the ladder? How does this look if I want to advance? So I'm sitting here day one, don't even know if I got the job yet, but I'm asking you, how can I move up? How can I promote? What does that look like? And in some places, they'd be like, well, this role actually doesn't have any promotional pieces to it. It's just you're in this role until you're not. To me, that's a red flag. Because I'm like, if I'm in something and I can't maneuver, I can't go up, I can't go down, it drives me crazy. That's one of the main reasons why I got out. So I talked about episode 1 where I felt like I was just kind of a tally, a pawn in the military, right? There's millions of people in the military. I felt like for myself, I was a pawn or just a tally to where, for example, I got out as an E5, right? That's, it goes E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, all the way up to E9. And that's for enlisted. So I was an E5. I'm working my butt off, right? I'm showing up on time. I'm doing everything that's asked of me. I'm going above and beyond. But in the military, you're making the same paycheck as another E5 who's doing the absolute bare minimum, like bare bones. It always bothered me because let's say you're a firefighter, nurse, police officer, whatever, right? And you have this thing of like, okay, if I go work extra shifts, what happens? I get OT or I get paid extra. Military doesn't work like that. Military, you get called in because somebody's sick. You're not getting paid extra. You're just expected to cover that. If you're working your butt off and the next person is not, you're taking home the same pay. That always bothered me. I always feel like you should get out what you put in. It's not like that in the military. Again, it is what it is, right? No one forces you to do it. So that's one of the main reasons on why I got out, because I'm like, I don't like being side by side with somebody that I can't beat. And when I say that, I don't mean it in the sense of a competition. I mean in the sense of I can't make more money. I can't promote any faster. I can't do any of these things because I can be like you and we could just cool it and collect these checks. Or I could try to move up. So that's one thing that really, really, really bugged me, right? And so when I got out with the intention of finding something to where I can improve and get better. And so when it came to opening up a gym and being a business owner, you get out what you put in. I think it's as simple as that. Not every business is the same, right? I think it depends on what kind of business you have. How many people work for you? How many people do you work with? You could be a business owner but work with people or for someone. Everybody has a boss. Even if you own your business, you have a boss. So for me, my boss is my members, my clientele base. They're the boss of me. And I say that because if it was roles reversed and I feel like I'm the boss of them, which is I feel like is a big downside in a lot of business owners, is that they feel like when you come into their space, they're the boss of you. And it's not the case. I am here to serve my consumers. I'm at your service because there is no business without the people that actually make up the business. So if I keep a mindset of servitude and I keep a mindset of that I'm here to serve the people that come into the gym, that is what's going to lead me to success. When you walk into Hometown Barbell, Frederick, Maryland, 5904 Enterprise Court, I am there to serve you. I am there to make sure that you are satisfied with the gym, and not satisfied in the sense of it's mid, it's okay. It's satisfaction in the sense of you're coming in, you're doing your thing, and nothing goes wrong, right? You come in, you scan in, the app works, everything like that. The equipment's functioning. Maybe you need a spot. Maybe you need some encouragement. Whatever you need, that is what I'm there for. I'm there to fill that. So for me as a business owner, I get out what I put in. If I don't put in any time and effort, I don't get anything out. The gym doesn't grow. The gym doesn't move forward without me putting in the work. And so that is why I'm so adamant. And people that know me, and people that, and I say this, people that know me well know how much I care about the people in the gym. Just as people, like aside from the fact that they're members. People. That's what makes up the business. I'm in the business of people, to where the people that are inside the gym That is who I'm serving. That's why I'm making sure I'm providing the best possible product to those people. If everyone in the gym decided one day to not come or cancel their membership or whatever, there'd be no business. And that's why my mindset is so geared on, I need to make sure that my people are taken care of. You'll never hear that I don't care about someone that walks into my facility. Never. Because that is the mindset that I'm in, is that my intent, my why, is to provide the best service possible. I'm always going to be in a sense of servitude when it comes to that. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to kind of humble yourself, ground yourself, and actually be one of the people, be a consumer. And I mean, you'd be surprised on like some of the things that I feel like I've had to do that might seem quote unquote above me, but it's never that. It's never that. But again, I'm in the business of people, and my intent is to serve the people that fill my establishment. That is why I'm so grateful for that. So that's kind of like most things of what I have to say as far as like intention and things like that. I brought up a little bit that I was saying that, like I said, when I first got my first unit out of boot camp was in Maine, Rockland, Maine. I don't know too many people that know too much about Maine, just in general, like as a state. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment if you know anything about Maine, just anything. Because for me, I remember I'm sitting in my company, which is like all my people in boot camp, and they're telling everybody where they're going, right? And you have people, they're getting Miami, Hawaii, Alaska, LA. And I'm like, yeah, it's my turn. And so I think it's week 3 or 4 boot camp, you make like a little dream sheet and you put, where you want to be. I put District 1, not really understanding what that meant. And I was just ranking different districts, and the districts are just all over the United States. They have like, from New Jersey up to Maine is District 1. They got, and I'm thinking I'm getting New York. That's why I put District 1 as my number 1. But aside from that district, I think District 7, that's like Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, or that might be District 5. I don't remember. I've been out for a while now. But basically they have the little subsections of districts, which is like the United States. So for me, like I said, they're calling everybody's units out. My man's, he got St. Petersburg, Florida. I was like, dang, that sounds nice. And they said, Price, you like the cold? And I'm like, I don't know what this man's about to say. He's like, you're going to Station Rockland in Rockland, Maine. I said, I don't even know if I really heard him. And then I think he could tell by my face, like how puzzled I was. He was like, Price, do you know where Maine is? He knew I didn't know where it was. I had no idea where Maine was. So let's fast forward a little bit. They pull me into the office, and I don't know if every branch does this, but basically, if in the Coast Guard, if you're at a unit that has a very, very high demographic of one race, they'll ask you if you're basically like, are you comfortable going to this location? So they put me aside. Again, I have no idea what's happening. They put me aside. They're like, okay, Price, da-da-da. And they're like, so we just want to let you know, like, you're going to Rockland. This is what it is. I don't remember the exact numbers. It's a very high population of said race. And so they're like, are you comfortable going here? I say, you know what, ma'am? I like a challenge. I'm built different. I'll be fine. I can fit in any crowd. I've always been like that. They're like, okay, Price. Take the paperwork. Stamp. Next file. And I remember I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm going to Rockland. I tell Raquel, I call her the first chance, like I get a phone call or whatever, call her. I'm like, hey, we're going to Maine. She's like, Maine? I'm like, yeah, we're going to Maine. I knew Maine was at the top of the U.S., but I've never actually like even processed where it is on the map. So let's fast forward. I'm in Maine. It's like my first week there, and Raquel and I, we get to a toll, and we didn't know that there was going to be a toll there. We pull up to this toll, and this lady, she says, she says to me, she's like, "Where are you from?" And we're like, "Oh, like we're from Maryland." Oh, because it started out to where I didn't have any cash on me because, again, I didn't know there was going to be a toll. And it wasn't one of those things where you like, you can't pay with a card or anything. So they're supposed to just basically bill you by your plate. And I said, "Hey, ma'am, like, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash on me. We're not from here. We just moved here." And she says, and she literally leans out the toll booth, and she looks at me. She says, "I wouldn't be telling too many people that if I were you." I looked at Raquel. I said, "Man, what?" I just drove off, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, when they pulled me in that office and they told me, "Hey, like, this is where you're going," I was like, oh, maybe I should have said, yo, put me somewhere else. But I was like, you know what? It's only been 1 week, driving. And to be honest, like, most of my encounters there weren't nothing like, what you'd see in a movie or anything crazy. It was more so like fascination. And I don't know if that, I'm sure I'm talking to some people when they know what I'm talking about, where it's like, you go places and people are like, it's like, "Oh my, what are you doing here?" But also too is that what I found out from my unit is that any minorities who go to that area of Maine, they already knew it's because you were in the military, because there's no other reason for you to be here. So they knew. Plus, clean shaven, low haircut, like, you kind of look the part too. But they already knew. They knew that why you were there. They knew where you were stationed, all of that. So we had a really sweet deal where our unit, we got the YMCA for free because we didn't have like a base or anything to like go to a gym. So we had a free YMCA membership. I was like, "Oh, this is nice." But we go to the Y, and the Y was like, you're in the town, you're with the peoples. And Maine, like I said, Maine is just different. It's a different place. People are just very like to themselves, low key. I think when I was there, I'm pretty sure their police department had 4 cops. 4 cops. And again, we're getting adjusted. We're kind of just like figuring out everything. One thing that was really weird was, again, this is all within the first week. We're going to look at apartments, right? And it's like this British guy, and he's taking us to go look at these apartments. And it's me and Raquel, and we're going. This is our first time like looking at places, so we're hyped. We pull up to this spot, park the car. Dude parks the car too, because we first met at this. I don't know why we met at like a hotel first to like go over paperwork or something. We drive up to the hotel, or we drive up to the place we both met at with the landlord, and then me and Raquel in one car. So landlord gets out the car, Raquel and I get out the car. I hit the horn, burp, burp, lock my car, and he like frantically like, and he looks back at me, and Raquel and I are like, "Yo, what did we do?" He was like, "What'd you just do?" I was like, we locked the car." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because that's something people do when they get out of a car." He's like, "We don't do that here." And he was insulted that I locked the car. Like he was like, "You're not in Maryland anymore." And I'm like, "Where?" And I learned nobody locks their doors in Maine. Nobody. You would go to somebody's house, and that's what it's like, the TV stuff where you pull up to somebody's house and they yell, "Come in!" And you're like, and you open up the door, and it's weird. It's different. And if you're from like the DMV, or if you're from like kind of any type of inner city, or really just anywhere else, I don't know if too many other people live like that. I mean, granted, we live in a crazy society today, right? So I don't expect there to be people who, leave things unlocked, and people leave their wallet in their car. And it's just different out there, man. It's different out there. I was trying to find my way when I was out there, 18, freshly married, young, 10 hours away from home, didn't know nobody. I'm trying to find my way. I'm trying to find my groove. And so the type of people that were at my unit, shout out them. There's still a few people that I know probably listening to this pod that I was stationed with in Maine. So I could probably name them too. But I'm talking to y'all. Different breed of folk. I pulled up there, different breed. And granted, most of the people that I was at my unit with weren't from Maine. There was like a few people that were either from New England or from Maine. But again, everybody's coming from different places. So you get this weird little mixing pot of people at the unit from all these different places. But the people that have been in Maine for a couple years, they turned into like full breed Maine folk. So in Maine, it's just a different way of life. Maine was one of the first places that I think still uses like a barter system. So back in this time, this is like 2015, 2016, Craigslist was like marketplace now. Everybody was on Craigslist. You could get anything on Craigslist. I saw someone at my unit trade for a truck. They traded a snowplow attachment for their truck, 2 guns, a puppy for a truck. No money was exchanged. And I remember hearing about it, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Because some people will be like, some people, when they sell stuff, they'll be like $1,000 OBO or better offer. Their OBO means they want something from you. It's crazy. It's actually like really, really crazy to think about. But a lot of people that were at my unit, they were very, they were just different than what I was used to. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to find my way. And I'm going through it. And I remember just feeling like, and I worked a weird schedule too. I worked 2 days on. So I was 48 hours on. It's kind of like, I guess, similar to like how a firefighter works, but you're working more as far as hours. So I was 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 2 days off, 2 days on, 3 days off. It was like a weird, like little rotation schedule. But my 2 days on, I was not home. I had to spend the night at my unit for 48 hours, and then I would go home after. When it was longer than 48 hours because you'd be there Monday, Tuesday, and you get out Wednesday at like noon. And then you have your Wednesday at noon till Thursday off, and then you're back Friday morning. So it's not even like you got a full 48 hours off. So I'd be in there, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this schedule ain't, I'm spending so much time with the people at my unit versus with Raquel. And it was tough. Like I think her and I can both agree. We've talked about this a lot over the last decade. Is our first year of marriage was our hardest by far. By far. It was very, very tough. I think a lot of people's first year is tough in some way, but I'd put ours up against a lot of people just for the sense of we didn't get that much time together. We did not get that much time together. I was working a lot, and then when I got off work, I was ready to go work out. It'd be Wednesday at like noon. I'm ready to train. I'm ready to go to the gym. And she's like, "Oh, well, what about me?" And I had to learn that it's not just about me. Like in a marriage, it's not just about you. That's something that I had to learn. But again, Maine life, right? I'm trying to adjust to these people. And again, I'm one of those people who I'm a chameleon. I can get in any crowd. I can blend in. So a lot of people that were in Maine were real big into like firearms. Like that was the thing, like firearms. Everybody had guns on guns. Maine don't got no gun law. Not one. Matter of fact, it's a law. You need to have one. Like no type of gun laws. So everyone, like, they would go to the range, they would shoot, they would this, they would that. And so I felt left out because I'm like, dang, I don't got no guns. I'm up there and I'm borrowing other people's guns to, like, if they go to the range, I'll shoot theirs. And I'm like, I really want one of my own. So what I do? I started buying guns. I was spending stupidly on firearms. And I really wasn't into guns like that. Like, it was cool. I enjoyed it. But I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as other people did. Like, to me, I've always been into, like, sports and, physical activity, things like that, just chilling, hanging out. Never been much of a gamer. Sports and working out has always kind of been my MO. But they were in the guns. There wasn't a lot of people to work out with. They wanted to go shoot. So I was like, all right, here we go. So I did a lot. And I don't know, from speaking to my military people, buying guns on an E1 check, ask me how much money you got left after that purchase. I was just being very dumb. And again, being 18, newly married, no real friends or family around, you have to learn. I feel like from my 18th birthday to 19th birthday, that was the year of my life where I learned the most about myself. Because, 0 to 18, I was at home. I was sheltered in the sense of, I didn't pay no bills. I didn't understand finances. There was a lot of things I didn't really understand. And I didn't understand them until I got on my own. And I'm on my own, but I'm also married. So I have someone else to essentially account for, to legally take care of, to care for. And asking all that of someone who's 18 is a lot. So I had to grow. I had to mature quick. So a lot of people now, even like in my earlier 20s, people never thought I was the age that I was at. And I feel like that was because my 18th to 19th birthday, like that year from 2015 to 2016, I had to grow. I had to learn. I had to make a lot of mistakes to get to not only where I'm at now, but to become emotionally mature, to become financially mature. And I still made a lot of mistakes after that. But again, learning. I made a lot of mistakes, but it taught me a lot in that same time frame. I think making mistakes is fine. We're human. We're flawed. We're built flawed. We're built to fail in a lot of ways. And there's so much on social media and in just media in general where it's like you're not supposed to fail. You're not supposed to lose. But we are. And the second you learn how to lose, you'll learn how to win and you'll appreciate how to win. Because I feel like a lot of times when things don't go our way, we crumble and we go into this shell and we're like, I don't know what to do anymore. Or I'm not going to go try this again because I failed. When in reality, that's how you know that, number one, you took that chance or you made that mistake and you learn from it. That's the only way to get better, and that's the only way to progress. I kind of want to leave you with a question this episode. What do you want? Like, truly just like sit back for a second, right? Just really sit back and think about it. What do you want out of your life? And it's not even like, a crazy question, right? But do you know what you want? Have you made goals for yourself? And not no cheesy goals that you wrote in a notebook and you put on your IG story. Like real goals, man. Like real goals, real life stuff. We spend a lot of time in our lives working. It's just society. Sometimes you'll work more than you'll play, essentially. And we work and work and work, and life gets more expensive. The economy's in the trenches. And we have to work. We got to get gas. We got to get food. We got to pay our phone. We got to pay for a roof. We got to pay for this. We got to pay for that. And it's tough. But when you decide where do you want to work, because we spend so much time there, you should probably try to pick a place or opportunity or something that you want to do or enjoy, even if that doesn't mean it has the financial benefits in the beginning. I think satisfaction joy, peace, comfort, all that stuff does not come from money. You can work somewhere, make great money, and hate your life. I think you look at it to where we chase money. We spend so much time chasing. But look at where money got some of the wealthiest people in the world that ended up taking their lives or ended up depressed. Money can't save you. Your friends won't save you. Parents won't save you. And like I said in, I don't remember what episode it was, but, you know, something where I always thought in the military, like, yo, if I die or something happens, they'll just fill the seat. They have to. They'll fill the seat. But what does that mean for me? They'll be like, oh, you know, Price used to sit there. He was funny. Okay. On to the next thing. And it's like, is that it? Is that all we're doing here? Living life with intent, living life with purpose is what's going to carry you and what's going to bring you peace and is what's going to make you happy. Money won't. I always look at it as that money comes when it goes. Money is always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. But your mental health, your just overall peace. Have you ever been in a situation where it's like weighing heavy on your head, heavy on your heart, and then you go to bed and you can't sleep because it's the only thing you're thinking about? Then you finally fall asleep and you wake up and it's right back on your head and it weighs on you all day. When you think about those things that like matter to you, and you try to figure out, what am I going to do in this situation? You have to do the things that are going to bring you peace, make you happy, bring you some type of content in your life. Because there's too many times where we just have to like do something that we feel like we have to do, but we really don't. When I was in the Coast Guard, a lot of times I heard the saying, it was a very common saying when I was in. I've heard it unit to unit, place to place. So it was a saying, like people said it. And they would say, embrace the suck. I hated that saying. Embrace the suck? What kind of motto is that? Embrace the suck. I'm like, come on, bruh. Embrace the suck? Embrace the suck. That's a horrible way to live. I just got to get through it. No, you don't. You don't got to just get through it. That mindset of just getting through it is going to kill you. It's going to ruin you. It's going to make your day strenuous. You're going to come home unhappy. It's just not a good way to live. Do something for you. And if you don't know what that is, you got to find it. Whether it's music, like everyone has their little outlets, right? What if your outlet turned into your profession? Not saying that if you're an engineer or you're a surgeon. No, granted, those things are more like passion based. So let's say you're doing this job you don't want to do and you're like really big into music or you're really big into something. Why don't you turn that thing that is on the side or that thing that's important to you into your main focus? And if you put all your time and effort into that main thing, then it becomes your main thing. You're going to have a way different level of contention. And you're going to have a way different level of appreciation towards your profession. I try to live an intentional life. I want my family, my friends to know that I care about them. I want my members to know at the gym, I'm talking about bro, 5904 Enterprise Court, that I care about them. That's the way my personal business model is ran, is that I care. And even when you think that I don't, I do. I really do. The way that I work out is I work out with intent. My intent is to train, to be great, and to beat Carey at nationals this year. That's me. Those are my, you know what I'm saying? That's what I want. So I'm training with intent. I'm doing things with intent. My intention is to grow my business. So what am I going to do in the meantime? I'm going to do what I got to do to do that. So that's how I'm going to leave you guys off on this episode. Do things with intention. Live a purposeful life. Stay humble. Stay grounded. See you on episode 5.